Get ready to embrace debate. First Take starts now.
Coming up on the First Take podcast, we break down the Warriors' incredible comeback against the Pelicans, plus reaction to President Obama's Deflategate jab at the Patriots. And has Derrick Rose found his MVP form in the playoffs? All that and more coming up on the First Take podcast. It starts right now. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to First Take. Carrie Champion here with Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, the crew. Hello.
Hey. What's up?
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm in the house.
How was it
I'm in the
night?
house now.
You look rested. You look rested.
Well, I didn't get home till 3 in the morning.
Wow.
It's all right. I'm in the house.
That's all that matters.
So
that matters.
did you tell LeBron I said hi?
Uh-oh.
No.
No, I know. I like it when LeBron says hello. Might not do that
if he mentions you. That's a good point. So don't do that.
Exactly.
On the show today, NFL top prospect Missouri defensive end Shane Ray will join us. Plus, it's the King, speaking of the King and his court, LeBron James, unstoppable in Boston, while Kevin Love was fitting in. We debate the performance. But first, if you went to bed early, you would have thought that the Pelicans won the game. They had a stunning 19-0 second quarter run to open up a double-digit lead that lasted most of the game. Golden State trailed by 20 going into the fourth, but the Warriors staged one of the biggest comebacks in postseason history. Take a look. Steph Curry was just too good. Curry scored 40 points, including a three-pointer in the final seconds of regulation to complete a 20-point fourth-quarter comeback. Warriors beat New Orleans 123-119 in OT. to take a 3-0 lead in their first round playoff series. Take a listen.
We knew we had to just find a way to get stops. And then with our stops, we were able to get in transition. We missed a lot of shots tonight that we usually make. And to overcome that and still get an opportunity with 30 seconds left within striking distance to make a couple shots and get to overtime was a big deal. And we finished it off, which is huge on the road. Just execute the play that Coach drew up and stay composed. I think I missed a shot, and we just kept fighting. Mo Space gets a huge rebound. I relocate to the corner, and thankfully enough time to get it off. It goes in. You know, we get all the momentum back on our side, and then the task is just to finish out that last 5 minutes. And, man, I'm just proud of everybody in that locker room, coaches, players, to get this big win for us, and hopefully we can finish it out on Saturday.
Did I hear the Pelicans crowd shouting MVP? Here's the question, Skip. Did the Warriors win or did the Pelicans lose?
Stephen A. Smith, as usual, it was some of both. But to me, a whole lot more of the latter. The Pelicans blew this game at home. A pivotal game 3. They could have made this an interesting series. I will be the first to admit I went to bed at the end of the third quarter. I thought enough is enough. I thought the Pelicans had iced it. And yet, I had the foresight to tape the fourth quarter and overtime because I taped the TNT show that was going to follow.
Yep.
And I carefully watched fourth quarter and overtime very early when I woke up this morning. Once more, forgive me for this. I know you're going to be hard on me as I'm going to be hard on Anthony Davis, but I cannot give him a pass for what happened in the fourth quarter and overtime. When you lead the NBA in player efficiency rating, when your fans are chanting MVP for you, when you're clearly, to everyone involved last night, the best player on your home floor, and you get outscored 39-19 in the fourth quarter and overtime, that is inexcusable, and the bulk of the responsibility falls on the shoulders of the best player, Anthony Davis. It is mostly your fault when you give up, your team gives up 10 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter. Most teams don't get 10 in a game. Golden State wound up with 22 for the game. That's way too many. And again, bulk of responsibility is on the 6'10" long arm guy who's supposed to be your, what is he? Is he a center? I call him a center. He's a power forward, whatever you want to call him.
He's a forward.
He's a big forward. He's a dominating forward. And remember, start of fourth quarter, Steve Kerr, out of desperation, went small. He took Bogut out of the game. Bogut played 0 minutes in the fourth quarter. So this is a small team that got 10 offensive rebounds. You know and I know from having covered this league for years and years and years, offensive rebounds are mostly about effort. Anthony Davis, as he experiences growing pains, and that was a painful bunch of growing pains last night, he's going to have to rev his motor a little higher in a fourth quarter of such a crucial playoff game. he's going to have to reach down for a little more killer instinct because he got beaten to the basketball again and again and again. Even Spates, you saw in the last sequence when, as Steph said, he relocated into the corner after he missed a three. Spates just beat Anthony Davis to the basketball. It didn't see him coming. It was almost like the Malcolm Butler interception in the Super Bowl where you don't see him coming. He just out-hustles you to the basketball, and it reminded me of Chris Bosh in Game 6 flipping it out to Ray Allen in the corner. God forbid. and he nailed the three, obviously, to send it to overtime. I am not going to be critical or condemn Anthony Davis for missing the one free throw that would have iced the game late. That's going to happen to everybody. And I'm not going to condemn him and him alone for his coach telling the team to foul, give the foul to give, to kill some clock at the end of the game, and nobody did it. It's just a young team that screwed up. But in the end, Anthony Davis has to assume the most responsibility for I thought, the biggest collapse I have ever witnessed in an NBA playoff game.
Oh, come on. It's not the biggest collapse you've ever witnessed.
Oh, come on. 20 points at home?
It's happened before.
20 at home?
But the point is this. You can't make up your mind, Skip. Either they're young or they're not. I'm not saying that you're wrong about
3 years in the league.
Listen,
3 years.
Listen. I am not saying that you're wrong about the critique that you're giving. I'm trying to say it has to be couched by the fact that he's young. It's his third year in the league. First of all, stop acting like 3 years in the league makes you a veteran. That's number one.
Well, I don't know.
And number two,
I think it does.
Well, it doesn't when this is your first playoff series ever. This is the first time he's ever been in the playoffs, which means that he's a rookie in playoff basketball.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is, again, you can sit there and say this about Anthony Davis, and you're not wrong, but let's not engage in condemnation with this kid. This kid is averaging near 30 in his first playoff series. He's had moments where he has not come through. And by the way, he's not coming through against the best team in basketball. Yeah. A team that won 67 games. A team that has a resident superstar in Steph Curry and the greatest shooting backcourt that we've ever seen. And let's also be careful about holding him completely accountable for the offensive rebounds that the Golden State Warriors were able to muster. Like you highlighted, Steve Kerr in the fourth quarter went small. When you look at the Golden State Warriors, primarily most of their shots come from the perimeter. When you are shooting perimeter shots, there are long rebounds. And sometimes it's not effort, sometimes it's speed as well. And if you go small, that means you're quicker to the basketball than some of the bigger guys, which is why Steve Kerr put a smaller lineup out there to begin with. Because with Bogut on the floor, it's one thing to have a formidable 7-footer there to patrol the paint, block shots, change shots, rebound. It's another thing entirely when you go small because the other team just seems to be quicker. And as a result, that's what transpired with the Pelicans. The Pelicans lost last night's game because the Golden State Warriors amped it up when it was time because they've been here before. They've been in the playoffs the last 2 seasons. They know what it
requires. Not all that successfully, but they've been there.
But they've been there, and they went to a 7-game series in the first round against the Clippers last year. You go through growing pains. Isaiah went through growing pains. MJ went through growing pains. Bird and Magic didn't necessarily have to because they were winning from jump. But the fact of the matter is that most people have to go through growing pains. Again, I am not saying that you don't look at Anthony Davis and hold him accountable. You don't point out that he made a mistake here, he made a mistake there. Yeah, there was an offensive rebound he could have gotten. There was a free throw he should have made. You know, that last play when he drove on Bogut, I thought that was a relatively weak move on his part.
It was pretty weak because the ball didn't even touch the rim.
That's right. And he
airballed. He shot.
Well, he went the right. Well, first of all, he was shooting right-handed. He drove to his left and shot into Bogut. What you wanted to do was go right because that's your strong move right there.
And give Bogut credit. He played it well.
He did play it well. He did play it well. But I'm only saying all of that to say, as time goes on, you learn from those experiences. If the guy was in the league 6, 7 years and found himself in a playoff series, you have a point. To be in his 3rd year in the league overall at age 22 in his first playoff series going up against the #1 seed in all of the NBA, all I'm trying to say is this. Go ahead and point out what the kid did wrong. You're right about that. But let's be clear here. The kid's got a promising future. You can't judge him by what you're seeing. These mistakes happen.
Here's my issue. And maybe I'm a prisoner of what I saw in the playoffs game at New Orleans against my Spurs.
Right.
Anthony Davis, from wire to wire, played his back end off in that game. He played hard. He played with an intensity that I don't always see him play with. I didn't see it last night in this fourth quarter. It's just playing hard. You've seen it. You know what I'm talking about. It's body language. It's like, I am going to close this deal.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry.
But there's a flip side to it, Skip. Sometimes that adrenaline and that momentum can be neutralized by the opposition because of what they're doing. That particular night against San Antonio to close out the regular season, there was no Thiago splitter. Tony Parker had played a great second quarter to keep them in it because they came out like gangbusters against San Antonio. And then if you remember, shots that San Antonio normally makes, they were missing. This is Golden State. These are the Splash Brothers.
Yeah.
Here they come. You go on a 19-0 run. You look like you're about to try and run them out of the building.
Right.
But you were still only up 9 at the half. And then what happens? They start making shots like they do. And when you know that they're coming up the rear, here they come. I mean, do you have...
But wait, a lot of the shots they made were second chance shots because they were getting the offensive rebound.
Well, again, that was as the game waned, but this was what I'm talking about when they had already inched their way back into it. What you're missing here is this. When you are an opponent and you're going up against a crew like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, when they hit shots, you know what happens to you? You go like this. Oh, damn. Here they come. Oh, this is about,
exactly
oh, Lord.
Exactly
You know, oh, my God. And then all of a sudden, instead of just playing, every possession gets tight because you know every little mistake is going to be capitalized on. And that, when you are young and you have not been here before, that is a lot to overcome.
What's funny to me was Steve Kerr in his huddle going into the
Sounds
fourth
like it
quarter.
was over.
He conceded basically in his comments to his team. He said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, let's establish a little momentum for the rest of the series here. Well, who wouldn't think it's over when you're down 20 on the road?
Yeah. But the players themselves, first of all, you know, that's psychological 101. That's psychology 101. Steve Kerr knows that at any moment, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green can shoot you back into a game. What makes Golden State so scary is that they can explode in bunches. They can erase a deficit in the blink of an eye because they're snipers. You understand? Now, if you got athleticism and you're just dunking and you got to defend, but you can't hit perimeter shots, that's entirely different. When you can sit there and literally get threes like they're twos, like they're free throws, well, then you got a different kind of problem. And you've got to be experienced enough to offset that. You going against LeBron and Cleveland and them, you going up against a team like San Antonio, it might be a little bit different. But a young team like the Pelicans, come on now, they're novices at this.
Okay,
novices.
Just for the record, to close this discussion.
Sure.
In the fourth quarter alone, Golden State made only 2 threes, 2 out of 10. But when Draymond Green gets 4 offensive boards and gives you another chance to score points or just puts it back, you're going to lose a 20-point.
Yeah, but it wasn't like he was boxing out and moving guys around. Some of those were long rebounds. He's quick of foot, and that's what happens. That's why you go small.
You talk about exploding in bunches. Klay Thompson said last night they haven't been in that position in a while. However, they have mental toughness. That was why they were able to bring it back. He said that's their key.
They're a very special group.
To the East, another special group, Cavs and Celtics. LeBron returns and scores 31 points in his first playoff game in Boston since a masterful performance in 2012. Kevin Love was the one who actually fit in, though, last night, Skip Bayless. Love had his best game of the postseason career, which is a short one, 3 games, particularly from behind the three-point line. In fact, he made twice as many threes last night than he had in the first 2 games combined.
Each game is going to be very different. It has been so far for me individually. First game, had to get the nerves out the way. Second game was in foul trouble. And tonight, I just found my rhythm and had a lot of open shots from my teammates who were able to find me.
Rhythm is important in all aspects of life. Cleveland moved 1 win away from a sweep. So Stephen A. Smith, let's talk about Kevin Love and his performance. A blip? Trend?
Well, I think it could be a trend more so than a blip because he can shoot the basketball. It's not an aberration to see him hit 6 threes. It's not an aberration to see him put up 23 points off of that. Now, he was averaging 16 and 10 on the season, but the reality is that when the ball touches his hands, Kevin Love is going to drain perimeter shots. That he can do.
Okay.
He can do. So it's not foreign territory. And the Cavaliers, to their credit, recognize that you're going to need him to play that way in order to win these playoff series. What you saw in Boston last night, keep in mind that that's a prelude of things to come. The reality is that the Boston Celtics, a scrappy team, they've got nothing else to go on. They literally got up in LeBron and everybody's face, and they were challenging them. They were getting physical with him. They were knocking him to the floor, etc. You saw J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert damn near ready to fight. That's what their presence, their arrival in Cleveland has brought, a level of nastiness, the kind of mentality that says we're not going to just look at you and ward off anything. We will be ready to fight. We ain't going to let you ain't going to let you mess with our boy. And that's the mentality. And I think that's helped LeBron immensely because he recognizes he's got guys that got his back. But also Love recognizes that they got his back too. Just go out there and do your job. And he went out there and he did just that. They were giving him the ball. He had a lot of open shots. He was draining them. Kyrie Irving didn't have the greatest game. But watching this kid's ball handling skills and the way he can dance on people, Kyrie Irving is nasty. I mean that in a very good way. This brother is on another level. The way he can dance on people, he can get an open shot for guys on the court anytime he wants to. Anytime he wants to. And then when you have J.R. Smith, who's usually on the opposite side of the floor of a Kevin Love, pick your poison. Because Kyrie Irving told me last night that was 911. That's what J.R. We might as well call him 911. In case of emergency, we dialed him. Boom. J.R. Smith, a 3 here, a J there. LeBron James is absolutely sensational. We know what he did with his 31 points. His 4 steals, by the way, 11 rebounds. He was absolutely sensational, and he answered the bell. But when you talk about Kevin Love, what I liked about what I saw last night is that he seemed to be somebody that has learned more and more how to fit in. They're incredibly confident with giving him the ball for perimeter shots. And more importantly, the Kevin Love I saw last night was somebody that knew his teammates wanted him to have the ball, which was very important. You see a guy like Iman Shumpert got something to prove. Nasty defender, wants to shut down people. J.R. Smith, he's happy to be in Cleveland doing his thing. By the way, he says his golf game, he hasn't even played golf because he's been in Cleveland. He has to wait till the offseason.
Well, just an FYI.
I hope not.
I'm glad he's focused.
He said he's not playing golf. He said he hasn't been playing golf. But the thing about it is that, again, they look at it, and their mentality is that we need Kevin Love. Kevin Love seems to know it, and he seems to be more comfortable. And if that is truly the case and isn't just a one-game aberration, then everybody better look out, because that's the kind of thing that will help deliver Cleveland a championship.
So the key takeaway for me from last night, the key development was 5 minutes. That's how long Kevin Love was able to play, was given the right to play in the fourth quarter. How many times have we talked about Kevin Love doesn't even get to play in the fourth quarter? How many times have you brought that up? Doesn't even play? Right. So he earned 5 minutes of playing time in the fourth quarter. That was significant because that hadn't been going on here. Right. And he earned it by he'd made 4 threes to that point. Then he took 2 more in the fourth and made both of those. Right. Well, to Kerry's question, blip or trend? My instincts right now are blip on that. But if this is a trend, LeBron's going to win his 3rd ring because this man is the X factor. If Patty Mills is the X factor for my Spurs, Kevin Love has become the X factor for this team. He is finally embracing the only role he can have as one of the big 3 in Cleveland. He's a spot-up shooter. I mean, in the end, he has to be that guy. And he was stepping into those shots like he was enjoying his role last night. That's the first time I've seen where he would catch it and shoot it knowing full well, like you said, he has the greenest of lights from LeBron and Kyrie when he's got that open 3, even kind of a semi-open 3. They do not mind if he steps into it and shoots it like he means it. He shot every one of those shots like they were going to go in, and 6 of them went in. That was highly impressive. If he can continue, now that didn't happen in the first game or the second game of this series, but it happened this time. Was it a breakthrough? Maybe. Look, I'm going to dismiss everything I've watched for 3 games because you and I are on the same page about this. This is going to be a sweep. So I can't take away much significance from what I'm seeing here because the way LeBron's playing against these guys, it's just man among boys. To me, doesn't he continue to flex his physical superiority over an Evan Turner when he blocked him at the rim? I'm
going to take a moment to give Boston a little bit of credit. I like this kid, Jay Crowder. I think he's got a promising future. But not only that, people like him are rare finds, and they're special to watch because he's a physical specimen that knows he is. and utilized it last night. Not necessarily to his advantage, but it was only because he was going against the greatest player in the world. That's all that happened. He was going against the best in the world. But you can't play LeBron much tougher in terms of he was in his face, he was physical with him. He's just not superior of a player or an athlete. That's all.
He's just not.
He's just not. That's all it was.
But he's got strength.
You
and
want
he's got will.
You want him on a team with talent,
right?
Because you want somebody like him. Like he's like a poor man's version of Draymond Green. You know, sort of Draymond Green is more skilled, whatever, but he's a poor man's version of that. Doesn't know quite how to play the way Draymond Green does. But Crowder has a lot of promise.
Or the way Kawhi plays LeBron. That's a whole different world.
But that's right. But you look at Kawhi. I'm sorry, not Kawhi. But you look at Kyrie. Kyrie, LeBron, Kevin Love averaged 69 points in the first 2 games. You know, Kyrie was averaging 28. LeBron was averaging 25. So Kevin Love only averaged 16. Last night was Kevin Love's night as opposed to Kyrie. So what we've learned is that even though we talk about the big three, on most nights, it's going to be a big two. And one of the big three is going to have to take a reserve role to let the other shine, because JR and Iman just fit in and evolve around that. So does Mozgov and Tristan Thompson as well. So when you look at it from that perspective, the big three, it's rarely going to be all 3 of them bringing it to you. It's usually going to be 2 of the 3. But where Kevin Love becomes incredibly pivotal is that when teams want to get physical with Cleveland, and then they got to buckle down and answer that bell to way to offset that, losing that role, you know, that battle of physicality, you got to be able to step out on the perimeter. And Kevin Love is the one to do that, because he's a better shooter than Chris Bosh was. As good as Chris Bosh is, Kevin Love is a natural.
That's close. That's close.
What I'm
Listen,
saying,
Chris Bosh could make big clutch threes.
Chris Bosh can make big clutch threes, but Chris Bosh is a better player in terms of his versatility.
No doubt.
But Kevin Love is a better shooter. Chris Bosh has a better all-around offensive game. Because of that, you need Kevin Love to pull those big boys away from the basket. And he can do it. Well, and that's going to free up LeBron and Kyrie.
Isn't this the recipe that LeBron loves the most?
That's right.
He can get the ball in the lane, and he is so gifted at seeing out of his peripherals. You know, we were the open threes. If they can make those open threes, JR, Kyrie, Kevin Love, it's so hard to defend them.
I'm going to tell you what the key to Cleveland's success is, and you heard it here. Iman Shumpert.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you why it's Iman Shumpert. I told you when he was in New York. I told you he got a bad rap. Remember, when people were critical of him, I was the one guy that loved Iman. I loved me some Iman Shumpert. This kid is athletic. He's got good size, legit 6'4", 6'5", and Skip, he despises people scoring on him. He beats himself over the head when people scoring him. This is a guy with LeBron that gives you 2 shutdown defenders at any moment. That's what allows Kevin Love to get on the floor. The problem with Kevin Love on the floor is that he's a liability defensively. But if you got other guys making it up, particularly against teams who will elect to try and go small against them, then you can keep Kevin Love on the floor, because you got LeBron and Iman Shumpert who can defend. That's key.
Okay, well, it's about to get real, because the Bulls are coming.
Is it about to get real?
Yeah, I mean, now we'll start to find out what the Cavs
are all about. What they're all about. All right, our basketball power.
Last quick point.
Make it.
Jay Crowder is in Boston only because Rondo is in Dallas.
The defending Super Bowl champions were invited to the White House. At the ceremony, President Obama said he didn't have a list of prepared jokes, but then he went on to make a joke. Sort of. Let's listen.
I usually tell a bunch of jokes at these events, but with Patriots in town, I was worried that 11 out of 12 of them would fall flat. All right.
Nah, there's no drinking. Maybe the president was getting wasted, but from his deflate joke. We're still wondering as an organization about that, right?
All right.
Oh.
Do you have a problem with the jokes? Skip Bayless.
Stephen A. Smith, Carrie. I did have a problem with the joke. Now, if you just put it in a vacuum in and of itself, I guess it was mildly amusing. but obviously I've long been a Patriots supporter on this show, and obviously the Patriots were at the White House to be honored for winning the Super Bowl. And I thought in that context that joke was a little uncalled for, a little out of bounds. I just frankly thought it was a low blow because it called new attention to the alleged scandal that threatened to taint New England's Super Bowl run of this past January and February. And by the way, for the record, the NFL still has not released the results of its investigation. So by the day, as the days pass, Stephen A. Smith, I'm considering the Patriots more and more innocent as charged, at least by the Indianapolis Colts. And frankly, just watched it again. I'm not sure our president had his heart in that joke. It was obviously written probably by one of his joke writers. I thought he gave it a little half-heartedly, and it did fall flat. It fell flat with the Patriots, and then he turned, and Belichick was giving him a wry smile and a thumbs down.
We have that photo,
Yeah,
actually.
we do. Yep. Thank you. We could see that. And then our president said, yeah, this whole story got blown a little out of proportion, trying to diffuse his joke that fell flat. So in the end, I think Gronkowski was speaking the unguarded truth. I'll refrain from talking about the drinking reference with Obama, but he said, we're still wondering as an organization about the joke that he made. So I'm assuming he heard from people above him. They weren't all too pleased with that joke at the function at which they were supposed to be being honored.
First of all, they were being honored. Secondly, I disagree with your position about that because I don't think you nor most people who would be critical of the president's joke is seeing it for what it is. Near the end, he also highlighted how he thought it was much ado about nothing. Those were not his exact words. But the reason why
he said it was blown a little out of proportion.
Allow me to finish. The reason why he was saying it was blown a little out of proportion is because he thinks it's much ado about nothing, which is why it was a joke. Because he understands the greatness of the New England Patriots. He understands that, you know what, when you look at the New England Patriots and what they accomplished, I don't want to hear anything about deflated footballs. I understand that it may be valid to a bunch of people, but if it's so damn valid, how come a decision hasn't come down yet?
Right.
We've been waiting forever for it. So the president is sitting there saying it's much ado about nothing. Here we are at the White House celebrating you as Super Bowl champions. Yeah, I'm going to roast you a little bit because that's what they do at events like this, but it's no big deal. I'm going to tell you what's a bigger deal for me, Skip.
I already know where you're going.
So Tom Brady couldn't attend, huh?
I already know where you're going.
So Tom Brady couldn't attend.
Yeah.
But was he there in 2001 when George W. Bush was president? Yes. Was he there in 2003 and 2004?
Sure?
No. I'm not sure about anything.
Okay.
I'm just simply presenting the question because I got a problem with the fact that the franchise quarterback, you, the person that you decide the face of the New England Patriots, the future Hall of Fame, and all of this other stuff. Tom Brady can do anything wrong. He passes gas as perfume. Okay, that's how untouchable Tom Brady is. But when George W. Bush was president in 2001, 2003, 2004, Tom Brady was there. Tom Brady was there at the White House celebrating. But Barack Obama is the president of the United States, and Tom Brady's got family commitments. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm simply saying, how come you could? It's the president. It's the president. You know what? I am of this mindset. I got news for you. Let me get a little slightly political here. I don't agree with every little thing our president does, but he's the president.
Out of
Respect the office.
I completely
and the
agree with
same
that.
respect that you would accord to George W. Bush or anybody else, you should accord to President Barack Obama. He is the president of the United States. Robert Kraft, I'm quite sure he had other things to do. He's the owner. He was there.
Okay.
I'm quite sure Bill Belichick had other things to do. He was there.
I'm extremely uncomfortable with this topic right now, as I do not know what Tom Brady's excuse was.
I'm not
Was
saying-
it legitimate? Was it a legit family conflict
Can I
or
say this?
emergency?
Can I put that away?
I don't know.
Can I put that away? They said family commitment. They didn't say emergency.
Well, I don't know what that means.
The word commitment was used, not emergency. And I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. I have no idea what it was. I'm not even questioning the legitimacy of it. I am saying, unless it's an emergency, if the President of the United States wants you to show up at the White House to celebrate your Super Bowl title. You are the face of the franchise, which, I mean, this ain't some third stringer. This ain't one of the ball boys that was responsible for watching the ball to make sure they weren't deflated.
You got him
This
there.
is Tom Brady.
Oh, you're taking a shot.
This is Tom
You're
Brady.
taking a deflate shot.
I'm saying, no. This is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
If Bill Belichick is there and Robert Kraft is there, you know, why couldn't Tom Brady be there? I understand. I'm sure he had a commitment. I'm not questioning it. All I'm saying is I'm quite sure they had commitments too. But when the president of the United States of America is honoring you, especially when you showed up the other 3 times, you trying to tell me there was no commitment?
According to the Boston Herald, Brady, who, quote, has so few free days, he didn't want to use one.
Wow.
This would have been his 4th trip to the White House. He decided to miss it.
Wow. The president of the United States.
If that's it,
President of the United States.
That's not a valid excuse.
Listen. I can joke around about Aaron Rodgers being the bad man that he is, because I think he is a bad man.
Now you're putting Brady on the pedestal.
Listen, just hear my point. I understand that Aaron Rodgers is a bad man, and I joke around about Tom Brady because I know how great Tom Brady is, and I know Tom Brady is usually first class personified and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I am telling you that the President of the United States celebrates you at the White House. You're supposed to show up unless there's an emergency. Unless there is an emergency, there is no excuse, especially when you showed up for the other president on 3 occasions. But Barack Obama's the president of the United States, and now you busy? I'm just telling you to just rub me the wrong way.
There are seem like 20 players in the past who have refused to go to the White House for whatever reason. Remember James Harrison? I believe he refused to go to Bush's White House and Obama's
All right. Did he refuse?
He refused.
Time out. I can respect that.
All right.
Don't give me some commitment. I mean, Robert Kraft's got commitments. Bill Belichick's got commitments. Other players got commitments. And you're the face of franchise. What franchise quarterback won a Super Bowl title and didn't show up to the White House?
So you think this was about politics?
I don't know. I have no clue.
I don't even know what Tom Brady's politics are.
All I'm saying, that's right. I understand that. All I know is this. The President of the United States happens to be Barack Obama. Respect the office.
Okay, I
show
hear you.
up.
Okay, I'm going to come full circle back to my original point, and I vehemently disagree with your point. There are certain things that are just not funny, that you just can't joke about. And when you have questioned the integrity of a Super Bowl run by saying that team cheated by deflating footballs, you can't make a joke about that when you honor them at the White House. I'm sorry, off limits.
You can make the joke if you believe it's much ado about nothing.
No.
Now, if you think it's serious, that's different. But if you believe, like they believe, that it's much ado about nothing, you can joke about it.
But you called new attention to an old wound.
Because he doesn't.
You reopened the wound.
Because he, first of all, the wound is never closed because the NFL hasn't made a decision. That's number one. And number two, he said it's much ado about nothing. So the point that I'm trying to make is that if he believes it's much ado about nothing, and the Patriots believe it's much ado about nothing, then why not have a joke about it? That's what roasting is.
Okay, all I know is he turned to them and said off script, yeah, that whole story got blown a little out of proportion. Is that saying it's much ado about nothing?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure that's what that says.
If you're saying it's blown out of proportion, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Geico presents Strange Saving Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Well, the former Missouri defensive end won the 2014 SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Shane Ray, a top NFL prospect, according to our draft experts. Welcome to First Take. I hear you say you've been dying to be here. This is what you've been waiting for?
Definitely.
Fan of the show? Watch it sometimes?
Huge fan.
You ready to bring the heat?
I'm already so impressed. I got to speak with this young man at the break. I think he deserves that seat.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, you can have it when I'm gone. He keeps talking that junk.
He does. He's been saying that a lot, and he won't like it.
Watch the show in the weeks to come.
Listen, Can you
when I'm on the road
take
for the
it back?
NBA playoffs,
I'm
watch
sorry.
how much I have
Take
to
it back.
apologize.
Take
I
it
love
back.
you.
Watch
Take
how
it
much
back.
he's complaining.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not here.
Take it back.
Let's
Okay,
talk about
so
you, bro.
Shane, as you prepare for the draft, you told our Chris Mortensen that your doctor said that you do not need surgery on your toe. And for our viewers who don't know, you injured it at the Citrus Bowl.
Yes.
You were calling it bad turf toe. But then our draft expert did another mock draft last night, and they dropped already down to 29 because of health concerns. Are you healthy?
Yes, I am. I got my foot checked out, and unfortunately the timing of the injury was just bad happening at my bowl game. And to try to, with the amount of time that I had to try to prepare for the pro day, for my combine and my pro day, I just haven't had time to actually recover from the actual injury. And honestly, I don't need surgery. I mean, there's a rumor going out that I need surgery. I met with a foot specialist, and he just said I just need time. And that's what.
How much time?
Pretty much, I'm predicted to be ready, if not a little bit into rookie camp, definitely by the season.
So it's not going to be one of those situations where you're going to find yourself sitting out for 4 or 5 months and
No.
you're not going to be ready to go come opening day or anything like that.
No, not at all. I just need time. I haven't had it, and it's an injury that if you keep working on it and don't give it the proper time to actually heal, it's not going to go away. And with having to prepare and do all the workouts I've had to do, I just haven't had time to get it to where it needs to be yet.
You know what just makes me sick about
does.
this?
I know it.
This
Go say
young
it for
man,
me.
He played in a bowl game for his school, and he got no money to play in that bowl game. He was not on salary at the University of Missouri.
That's right.
And now, because of an injury sustained in that bowl game, playing for free, you get your room, board, and tuition, obviously, playing for free, you just might drop all the way from an early third in the draft all the way, let's just for the sake of this discussion, say you fall to 29th. You are being cost millions and millions of dollars to fall all the way down that board because of something that happened playing for free for your school. How does that make you feel about whether college athletes deserve to be paid?
Well, when I think about it, of course, you talk to all the college athletes, they want to get paid and have, just a little extra help. Not necessarily get a huge increase in your stipend or anything like that, but a little extra help goes a long way. I mean, I know I'm calling my family left and right, hey, Mom, I might need extra few dollars to get through the week here and there. And, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. And, I think hopefully, they make a few changes to make things better so, this conversation and issue will just change. But for me personally, it happened, and I just got to move past it. It's just something that happened in my life, and I just got to accept it.
But see, one of the things that I do, and Skip, more to your point, you didn't run at the NFL scouting combine because of the injury, but on the pro day you did like a 4.64. That's what they said. My thing is that if you perform in college at an elite level, I think the kind of exposure they ask you to subject yourself to, the scouting combine, the pro day, I think that should be limited. What are your thoughts about that? I'm just wondering from that perspective, the fact that they ask y'all to do so much, even after you've already performed on the collegiate level for so long.
Well, in my thoughts, I mean, this whole process, I felt like I've been under a huge microscope. Everybody analyzing, bits and pieces here and there, and especially with me and my injury, it's just giving them so much more to talk about. And I think the combine is necessary. You want to go out there and show your skills, but there is a little limit to, I feel like, things that you should do, especially if you're going through an injury. And for me, this whole process, I've been, scrutinized left and right about, a toe injury, and I just haven't been able to be my best because of just the process and, meeting with teams and all those things.
Where are you of the mindset that you should fall in the draft? Looking at the players, knowing, I'm sure you've done your homework on teams, what they think they need, where you think you might fit in. I'm not asking specifically where, but where do you think you should fall in the draft?
Well, I can't really speak on numbers on teams on where I should go, but when we're talking about players, I feel like I'm the best defensive end, outside linebacker in this draft. I mean, I led the SEC in sacks and tackle for losses, and I think my film speaks for itself. But unfortunately, with my injury, I wasn't really able to show exactly what I could do with, my speed and my agility and those things in my pro day. But at the end of the day, man, you turn on that tape and you see what you get. And I'm the most dominant defensive end in this class.
You better in the 3-4 or the 4-3?
I could play either one.
What are you better? Which one are you better, or which one do you prefer?
Honestly, I would enjoy playing in the 3-4 as a stand-up outside linebacker. The original issue with me was the question on if I could get to a heavy enough weight to be able to play in a 4-3, and I got my weight up to 250. And as athletic as I feel like I am and the confidence I have in myself and my play, I definitely feel like I can transfer to a 3-4 outside linebacker and still dominate.
Our Tom Rinaldi did a terrific piece on you, although
Wonderful.
that's just redundant for me. Every piece he
Yeah,
does.
it's terrific.
Rinaldi's fantastic.
With teardrops at the end of all.
Yes.
You grew up in a neighborhood in Kansas City called the Murder Factory. Give us some quick idea of how that helped the toughness you need to play that position that you play.
I think it's helped a lot in the simple fact that, it was hard growing up. And you have to kind of have a mentality or a tough mentality to make it through a lot of the adversity, adverse situations that you're put in growing up in that environment. And, I had, a great support system around me to help mold me to the person I am today. And, of course, I continue to thank all those people. But it definitely adds a little bit extra to it and who it made me on the football field as well, just trying to be aggressive and just consistently I call it being a dog mentality, just keep coming and coming. And I think that's just definitely come from my background and how I was raised and things I've been through.
One of the things I like about watching this kid, Skip, is that, you obviously have the background that you have, obviously coming from the mean streets, having to handle your business. I'm looking at today's NFL players, at least some of the stories that have been out there, and guys seem to have a real struggle of leaving certain things behind. The same old story.
Yeah.
Doesn't appear to be the case with you. Is that a correct way to surmise it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. I mean, when you think of the stories like guys with, Aaron Hernandez and, their past kind of bringing them down, as they're moving forward in their careers, I mean, that's just a decision you have to make that, I'm not going to put myself in that situation. You made it out of there for a reason. And I feel like, with the opportunity that I've been presented, I'm not going to give that up for anything back in the hood. It's not going down like that. I have people in my family that are looking to me to be successful. And, my mom, I would hate to be on national television arrested in handcuffs over. That's a really poor decision and disappoint my family and my mom after everything they've done for me to get here.
All right, there are a couple of things that I've been on the Twitter. Says that you threw out the first pitch at the Royals game.
Yes.
How'd that go?
Great. It was a dream come true, coming from Kansas City and walking out on that mound, especially with the success that the city's having. And my biggest thing was getting that pitch across the first plate, off the home plate. That was the biggest thing.
I'm wondering, are you going to have a conversation with them about how they can
We'll
get into that later.
I think they need him.
They might need you, or they need to come and play some football instead of baseball. They seem more interested in playing football than baseball.
Talk to your boy, you know him? Tell him to behave.
I have nothing to do with that.
Okay.
I don't mind the idea of them calling the bad boys of baseball, though. Okay. I like that a little bit.
You got to be bad boys because you balling on the field as opposed to fighting.
Right.
It is baseball.
You are a basketball fan, from my understanding?
Yes, I am.
Kobe Bryant fan. But who's winning the series? Who's winning it all, rather?
Oh, man. See, I'm a basketball fan, but I really just kind of watch players. And, I'm a LeBron fan, Steph Curry, superstars, man. I like watching them. But, I see Cleveland being a really good team, and I don't know if they're going to take it out, but Steph's doing his thing. He might carry that team all the way.
Yeah. All right, so why'd you pick Mayweather?
Oh, it's Floyd.
What does that mean?
Floyd doesn't lose.
What does that mean?
It's Floyd. Floyd doesn't lose. He doesn't lose. I didn't even have to look at the Pacquiao side to know who I was going to pick.
Was there any room?
This is a top 5 pick in the NFL draft.
Redo the draft.
He's smart. He's talented. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He might. I think number 1 consideration. I think it was.
America is going to be in shock the night of May the 2nd when it comes clear that Manny Pacquiao is clearly superior.
I'm just upset because I really have a lot of things that I have to do. You understand? I got my crew of boys coming. You understand? And I got to waste time instead of going to the after party celebrate. I got to sit there and console you.
Yeah, I mean, want to do that.
It's just real bad, man.
I'm just hoping you actually show up for our show the following Monday. That's what I'm worried about already.
Where's that going to be?
I'm counting days. It's right here.
They're going to be here.
Right here in that
show.
I won't be here.
You'll be still in Vegas.
You'll be running. You'll be on the lam somewhere.
On the lam.
I'll still be in Vegas.
You will not be able to be found.
Okay. First Take is on the road for Vegas. We'll be at the MGM Grand Pool Complex Wednesday, the 29th, through Friday, May 1st. Special guest, 50 Cent, Jamie Foxx. Doors open 5:30 a.m. local time. The show is live at 7. Come out, join the crew in Vegas. Speaking of the fight, our Dan Rayfield interviewed the 5 men who fought both Manny and Floyd. Oscar De La Hoya, Miguel Cotto, Shane Mosley, Ricky Hatton, and Juan Manuel Marquez. They all talk about the pros and the cons for the fighters. Take a look. Oscar De La Hoya. When I fought Floyd, the first thing I thought was, that's it. It's no big deal, nothing special. When I fought Pacquiao, I obviously felt overwhelmed. I felt as if there was something special. And he would do special things in the ring after that victory. Cotto, Manny can move from here to there in less than seconds than Floyd, and that's going to be a big advantage for Manny, but Floyd is a strong boxer. Mosley. Pacquiao was the heavier hitter, and his punches have a lot more snap than Floyd's, but I think he's going to be able to move away from Manny's power shots. And then Hatton went on to say something of the same effect. So Skip,
Ricky Hatton said that?
He's hard to read. He shuffles fast with his feet, moves in and out, and has no real rhythm. That's going to be a massive problem for Floyd.
That's Pacquiao. You know,
massive problem for Floyd, yes. He's talking about Pacquiao.
Hatton is talking about Pacquiao.
Yes.
Yeah.
How would he know? He wasn't in the ring long enough to be able to discover it. He got knocked out 2 rounds.
Thank you.
These are all the things that they're saying about the pros and cons of the fighters. You got a problem? Go ahead.
Do
Make
you
your
understand
Make your
that when
case.
we talk about Hatton, Kerry champion?
Stephen A. Smith.
Because I'm just going to ignore Skip with this. Because
Okay, you don't want to talk to him.
out the way.
Yeah, okay.
Hatton walked into the ring, and before he had a chance to burp, he got caught with a right hand coming in. He went down, and then the next thing you know, he tumbled down again, and then he survived the first round, and then came in the second round and got put to sleep.
Okay.
He doesn't know what, I mean.
So we'll throw his comments out.
He is in no position to judge anything about Pacquiao.
So Ricky,
he didn't last long.
Ricky, it don't matter.
Mayweather to win the fight. So should we just discount that? Throw that out.
We're throwing this out. We're done with
that.
Ricky.
Didn't count. That prediction does not count.
No. I'm going to tell you why it counts. See, he's picking Mayweather to win the fight because he was in the ring long enough with Mayweather to figure out what will happen. But I'm saying I can't even take him seriously, even though he's agreeing with me, because he doesn't know. He's not qualified to speak on this. He didn't last long enough. That's all I'm trying to say.
All right. Skip, what do you make of it?
Let me give you my takeaway from all these quotes. And by the way, Dan Rayfield did a sensational job of talking to the common opponents.
He always does.
We don't have enough time on this show. I recommend everyone to go to ESPN.com, look this up, and read all the quotes from the 5 common opponents, because it gives you real insight into what's about to happen in this fight. Manny's about to take it to Floyd. That's my takeaway from this. It's every point that I have tried and failed to educate you on for about 6 months on this show. Heck, for about 5 years on this show. Manny is quicker than Floyd. He has quicker feet and at least as quick in his hands. And all of them said that Manny has way more punching power than Floyd. Now, back to De La Hoya's quotes that you read to start off with. Think about this. He's saying that when he fought Floyd Mayweather Jr., as soon as the bell rang and the fight ended, his first thought was, that's it? That's no big deal. He's just saying Floyd was no big deal, nothing special. But when he fought Manny Pacquiao, he said, I obviously felt overwhelmed. I felt as if there was something special there, and he would do special things in the ring after this victory. That's really the last fight that Manny Pacquiao took seriously, because right after that fight was when he started trying to get a fight with the man who ran from him for 5 years, Floyd Mayweather Jr. It is finally here, the time of reckoning for Floyd. And I love Cotto's quote. And again, he's now being trained by Freddie Roach, so maybe we should put an asterisk beside this quote. Freddie obviously trains Pacquiao.
Yeah.
But Cotto made a powerful point here. Manny can move from here to there in less seconds than Floyd, and that's going to be a big advantage for Pacquiao. His feet are too quick for the defensive genius that is Floyd. He's just too quick. And his hands are too quick, and once they tag you, they're so much heavy-handed. They're more heavy-handed. They lack. He's going to sting Floyd early, and then he's going to rock him later in the fight.
But Skip,
go ahead.
No, you go on, because I'm waiting for Stephen A.
Okay, then I got to go back to one other.
Go ahead.
Perspective quote from De La Hoya, who then began to promote Mayweather fights. He said that they would match him up strategically with opponents that he clearly had an advantage over. And he was talking about the Ghost Guerrero, how it was just basically a joke of a fight. And then even against Marquez, you keep bringing up the catch weight. He's saying, he brought up the point, and I've forgotten this, Floyd didn't even make weight. Floyd came in 2 pounds heavy at 146 pounds. It cost him $300,000 a pound to come in heavy. So that was $600,000. And if I know Floyd from watching your All Access, he just pulled out his wad and said, "Oh, $600,000 here. I got that right here in my pocket." Doesn't he carry about that around?
That's in his knapsack, not his pocket.
Okay, I meant knapsack.
Okay.
I'm sorry. And Marquez had never fought. Listen to this. Marquez had never fought above 135, and he had to get all the way up to the catch weight of 144. He got to 142. He was completely overmatched. He's too small for Floyd, both in stature, height, length, whatever you want to talk about. Manny's smaller also. Manny is what? 2 inches shorter, 5 inches in reach. Big advantage for Floyd, except he's up against a guy who's quicker than him and much more powerful than him. And I've been telling you, ring genius is shared by these two. Manny's got his own sort of awkward ring genius going. So Floyd basically, from what my takeaway from all these quotes, he's in trouble. That's it. That's all I've been saying.
But Floyd has beat all of them. You know that's what he's going to say.
Well, not just that.
Manny beat one guy several times.
Not just that. It's interesting that the very man that you're talking about that was so small, that had to come up to 144, that was completely overmatched by Floyd, is the one that put Manny Pacquiao to sleep.
Yeah, because
it's amazing.
He threw one lucky punch in a fight he was losing badly on all 3 cards. The 4th time they had fought. The 4th time.
He wasn't losing badly.
Yes, he was.
He wasn't.
Yes, he was.
He dropped Pacquiao in the 3rd round. He won 2 of the first 3. Pacquiao came on strong over the next 3 and was winning the fight.
He was winning.
And was winning the fight.
I think he was winning handily.
But it was not handily.
Yes,
that is not true.
Go
back and watch. I don't need to watch the fight. And the point that I'm trying to make to you is this, Skip Bayless. You make absolutely, positively no sense because you just pointed out how Marquez was so overmatched, how he was just entirely too small for Floyd, etc. But he's the one that put Pacquiao to sleep. But Pacquiao's supposed to come
fight with one lucky punch with 3 seconds left in the round.
I am trying to make the point that regardless of the lucky punch, it was from a smaller guy who you said was completely overmatched by Floyd. So if a smaller guy put Manny Pacquiao to sleep, okay, but he's severely overmatched by Floyd, what position does that put Pacquiao in against Floyd, considering that?
Okay, but what happens when you have to gain 7 pounds to fight, 7 pounds over?
And let me get to Oscar De La Hoya. I got news for you. If you asked fighters what would they rather do, rather have to gain or have to lose, they tell you they'd have to gain because having to lose could potentially drain energy from them. What happened with Manny Pacquiao and Oscar De La Hoya? Oscar De La Hoya knows good and damn well he came into that ring a dead man walking. Everybody that Floyd's fight since he beat Oscar De La Hoya, Oscar De La Hoya has something to say about Floyd. Oh, this guy could take Floyd. Oh, that guy could take Floyd. Oh, Floyd is not all that. Because Oscar De La Hoya hasn't got no perfect, and I respect Oscar De La Hoya. He's one of the great boxers ever. But the bottom line is he got waxed by Floyd, and he should have won that fight. Listen, you can sit there and say that. As far as I'm concerned, he lost.
Did you say waxed?
And by the way,
he did.
Floyd was the smaller fighter, if you remember. Oscar De La Hoya was the one walking around as a junior middleweight, okay? It was Floyd that was the smaller guy that stepped into the ring against Oscar. And by the way, he had to come up to fight Oscar. Oscar didn't drain himself by coming down. Not that I remember. If I'm wrong, I stand corrected, but that's not what I remember. In the end, Oscar was clearly always the bigger fighter. Floyd was the smaller guy, and Floyd beat him. If any case Oscar should be making, it's that, look, I was the bigger guy against Floyd. But Floyd was smaller and faster. That's why he beat me. So since Pacquiao was smaller and faster than Floyd, that's why he might beat Floyd. That's what Oscar should be saying. Instead, he comes across as bitter, as somebody who hasn't gotten over the fact that he lost to Floyd, okay, and had no choice but to stomach Pacquiao's greatness when Pacquiao beat him to a pulp. When he walked into the ring, dead man walking, couldn't get off his stool. His wife had to leave the ring and go to the back because she got tired of seeing his face. Listen, I was at that fight. I was ringside. And the wife got up and left. The wife got up and left and went to the back because it's hard seeing your man get beat up like that. No disrespect. No disrespect.
The bell rings to end the 12th round. The bell rings, and De La Hoya says, my first thought was, that's it? That's no big deal.
You can
That's
sit there
nothing
and say, you can
special.
sit there and say, well, then why didn't he do something about it with the 12 rounds he had a chance?
Well, he won the fight. That's all he could
No,
do.
he didn't win the fight.
He got
Evidently,
robbed.
he didn't get robbed,
did.
please. And in the end, here's the bottom line,
Okay,
Skip.
I
You
got
talk
one
all of
last
this,
point.
hold on, you talk all of this junk. But in the end, what it comes down to is this.
Yeah.
Oscar is trying to continue to validate the greatness of Pacquiao because since Pacquiao beat him up, if Pacquiao beats everybody else up, it doesn't look like such an aberration. But the fact that he beat up Oscar seems to be something that Oscar has trouble getting over. And I like Oscar. I love Oscar the fighter. He's great. But just let it go. You lost to Floyd.
You know what?
You lost to Floyd.
What you have trouble getting over is that this might just be Oscar De La Hoya speaking the truth.
What you have trouble getting over is the fact that I have nothing to get over because Floyd is 47 and 0.
So here's the
zero
final
as
point.
in no
I'm going to
losses.
take this final point from Sugar Shane Mosley's quotes. And by the way,
Oh, Sugar Shane now. Sugar Shane now.
Well, he picked Floyd to win the fight.
Okay.
So I'm giving you this
All
point.
right.
But his final point is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, here we go.
Knew about that. Didn't know about
Last
Sugar
quick
Ray.
point from Sugar Shane.
Sugar Shane, I'm sorry.
Floyd has had a problem with southpaws before. Wait, is Manny? Oh, he's left-handed. He's left-handed. That's what the deal is. Mayweather likes to lean over to his right side. We know that shoulder roll. I get sick of seeing it. And Pacquiao likes to throw the left hand down the pipe. And maybe that happens. He has a great straight left hand, does Manny Pacquiao, says Sugar Shane Mosley. So as Floyd's bobbing and weaving with his little shoulder roll, head cocked over to the right, it is a sitting duck of a head for that straight left hand of Manny Pacquiao. I love this. Thank you for that, Shane Mosley. Case closed.
Fine.
Kawhi Leonard won the NBA Defensive Player of the Year award on Thursday. He is the first Spurs player to win such award since David Robinson did it in 91-92. Kawhi led the NBA with 2+ steals per game and was second in NBA in defensive real plus minus. Draymond Green finished second but received 8 more first-place votes. Interesting. At the end of the regular season, ESPN forecasted that Kawhi had a 1% chance of winning the award and gave Draymond Green a 57% chance to win the award. Again, let me get this straight. Draymond Green had more first-place awards. So let's talk about Kawhi Leonard. Did he deserve it, Stephen A?
It's very difficult for me to say any of the three, Kawhi Leonard, Draymond Green, or DeAndre Jordan, didn't deserve it. It's very, very difficult for me to say that because I think all of them bring their little elements to I shouldn't say little elements, but their elements to the game defensively. Kawhi Leonard is the kind of guy that can guard opposing point guards. He can take Chris Paul out of the game. He can disrupt things that Steph Curry wants to do. He can defend a Klay Thompson. He can defend a Damian Lillard. He can do all of these things. I mean, so when you look at it from that perspective, obviously you can't take anything away from him, and you can't take away the guts and the moxie that Draymond Green shows on an everyday basis. But I'm leaning towards the likes of Doc Rivers and the Los Angeles Clippers, because when I think about DeAndre Jordan, who is a skywalker, even at 7 feet tall, and I look at the 2.2 blocks a game, the league-leading 15 rebounds a game. I look at the amount of shots that he changes, and I look at what he was able to do in the absence of a Blake Griffin. I mean, successive 2020 performances. I mean, this kid was nothing short of sensational. And I think about the impact that he has. And, when you see guys block shots, Skip, that you got to take into account how many shots they forced to change, how many shots they altered. Even if you didn't block it, guys having to shoot over you, guys turning the ball over, trying to make an extra pass, disrupting things that guys want to do inside because they know they have you to be worried about. These are all the things that DeAndre Jordan has done, and he's had a profound impact on the success of the Los Angeles Clippers, even in the absence of a Blake Griffin. And so when I look at it from that perspective, it's hard for me to just take away. I mean, Blake Griffin was going for 15 games, and they were still winning. And I just look at it from the perspective that it's hard for me to take anything away. And then I think about also what DeAndre Jordan pointed out, how a lot of times guys get robbed as all-stars because they're not going by positions. You're just picking forwards and guards and what have you. You're not appreciating the center position and the responsibilities that they have at the 5 spot. I think about those things, and every time I turn around, he gets snubbed. We're quick to talk about his missed free throws, and that's the truth. but we should be talking about some of the great things that he does. And I think if you pressed me in a corner and I had to pick, as much as I respect Draymond Green and Kawhi Leonard, I would have picked DeAndre Jordan.
Kawhi's missed a few free throws in his time also. That's
Yes.
Bigger free throws.
Stop it.
Just being honest. I have no idea how Kawhi won this award. To your point of he had a 1% chance according to our pre-pick panel.
Our forecast.
Yeah, our forecast of all the ESPN experts. And I look at it, I love Kawhi. I know what he does for this basketball team, and psychologically, emotionally, he does a lot for this team because, as you point out, he's the most versatile of these defenders. On any given night, he'll guard the center if he has to guard the center. But now he's guarding J.J. Redick for the most part. He's just taking him out of the game. He'll guard Chris Paul if needed tonight. I've been advocating on the show, guard Blake Griffin a little bit. I think he could bother Blake Griffin, even though maybe he's not as strong as Blake. But
Blake is too strong.
Yeah, but you know what? Hey, LeBron, I would think, would be too strong for Kawhi, and he is not too strong. Kawhi was taking LeBron out of the games in the finals.
LeBron doesn't play like Blake.
Doesn't play like Blake. He can on occasion. He's been playing like Blake against Boston, I can tell you that.
But he's more of a perimeter player.
I know, I got it. So what I hate about this is, obviously, Draymond Green, it appears to me just on the votes, when I look at the votes, Draymond got robbed. He just did. I'm going to say it because he was the best defensive player on the #1 defense in all of pro basketball. Bogut has had an impact on that defense too, but Draymond has had a bigger impact. And when he gets that many more first-place votes, it's just wrong. 45 to 37 first-place votes. Then, of course, the second-place votes swung it to Kawhi because it was 41 to 25. But it just doesn't sit well with me. It's not right, and I have too much respect for Draymond. I love Kawhi, but what I don't love about this is disadvantage for my Spurs, because guess what's going to happen tonight? Kawhi's going to get presented with this award at the game tonight. You're going to be there Sunday, but not tonight. But we'll all be watching it on TV. And unfortunately, Mr. Jordan, as DeAndre, is going to have
he's going to feel some type of way about that?
Yeah, he's going to have to sit and witness this, and he's not going to like it. And he's going to have his mad on when the game starts, and he'll probably take it out on my Spurs.
He's going to have his mad on.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that not only has DeAndre Jordan never won the Defensive Player of the Year award, last year he wasn't even on the all-defensive team.
Yeah.
How was that possible?
He's been snubbed a lot.
I mean, he's been snubbed a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that's just
take it out tonight.
Maybe. Well, yes, he will. Yeah. But not that. I mean, again, I didn't want to. You don't want to bring it up on that level, but it's the truth. I mean, does that factor into the equation when you think about this guy getting the recognition? DeAndre Jordan. Every time I see him, I tell him one thing: work on your free throws, man. Work on your free throws, because I believe truly that he could be the best big man in the game if he hit free throws.
Yep.
The guy that's his problem, but he is definitely snubbed as a defensive player. There's no question.
Yeah, watch him shoot 20 free throws tonight and make 18 of them, and Pop will just keep on keeping.
Jordan will be in a play.
Not in your dreams.
Well,
DeAndre Jordan will never hit 18.
Well, just watch. Just watch.
Motivation,
so
perhaps.
Now what's going to happen is my Spurs, let's say they get through the Clippers, and then they get through the Rockets, and they get to the Warriors in the conference finals. And now Draymond versus Kawhi is going to say, yeah, watch this. Watch what I do.
Feel some type of way.
You know, listen.
He's a quiet thunder.
You know what? He shrinks a little bit when there's too much spotlight on him, and now there's going to be incredible, harsh spotlight on him. Like, live up to this. He does not like this much attention.
ESPN Radio, bringing you directly to the biggest events in sports.
Center field, well hit, Hunter back, out of here!
From opening day of baseball,
Throw to the plate, safe at the plate!
Right through the World Series.
For the third time in 5 seasons, the San Francisco Giants are the champions of the baseball world.
Whether it's LeBron, Chris Paul, or Kevin Durant, when the NBA tips off, ESPN Radio is right there when a champion is crowned.
We have a new world champion. The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
And when the magic of bowl season arrives, ESPN Radio is your home for the new college football playoff.
The college football playoff first national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
The biggest events in sports can be found right here on ESPN Radio.
Spurs host the Clippers in a pivotal Game 3 tonight in the only first-round series where the two teams split the first 2 games. The team that wins Game 3 of the series tied at 1-1 goes on to win the series 76% of the time. They'll have a short turnaround from tonight's Game 3 to Game 4, which will be Sunday, 3:30 Eastern, ABC. We welcome in our NBA analyst, former Clipper.
Don't say the name yet.
Oh, you want to call my name?
Have you ever been?
Yeah.
When he was with the Detroit Pistons, did you ever go to one of their games?
No.
Number 3, Chauncey.
Number who?
Number who?
What did you just say? I thought he said number 3.
I don't wear number 3, man.
Bye.
I forgot.
Okay, I'm leaving.
You know what, Gary? See, that's what you get when you let him take over.
Yeah, what is he doing?
You got that part right.
I thought he said.
Chauncey, what was your number? What was your number?
Numero uno.
Yeah, damn.
Numero uno.
Number 3, Chauncey.
That's why I made him put that shirt on.
That's why he made him put the shirt on.
You know what?
I forgot. It's been a long time, man. It's been a long time.
Oh, that theater. Got it
been a
wrong.
long time.
Okay, our boy is here. Chauncey
I had the
Billups.
intro, though.
Yeah, it was a good intro.
I had the intro.
You got the intro right.
Right.
Former Clipper. Here's a question. So after Games 3 and 4 are done, where will this series stand on Monday? Essentially, a pick what's going to happen on 3 and 4.
I think it'd be 2-2.
All
I think they go back home 2-2. I think both of these teams are closely matched, with the exception of the depth of San Antonio. I think it was a quick turnaround. For Game 3, I think it's going to be another quick turnaround, which I think favors the athletes.
Okay.
I don't know how Tony Parker's feeling, which is a big deal. That chips at their depth as well. So I think it goes back 2-2.
So are you guessing tonight will belong to which team?
I think the Clippers' best opportunity is tonight.
Yep.
With it being a quick turnaround. And I thought the Clippers played well. I thought they gave it away. I thought I think they're playing good basketball right now. And as a sidebar, I think you're right. They did mess over DeAndre Jordan for that Defensive Player of the Year. I do believe that.
Stephen A says they're missing a piece. Would that be you? Do they need you now?
As slow as I'm running right now, I don't think I can do it, but I can knock down a shot.
All right, so timeout. He wore number 3.
Well, he won number 3, but the announcer would say 6'3", Chauncey.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
You were there. You were there.
My bad.
But you were right.
I mean, damn. I was at all the games. I mean, come on now.
You were close. You were close.
That's all right. It's okay. You got me.
Horseshoes and hand grenades. That's the only time close.
Listen, he's the one guy that could get me. He made me put on a daggone T-shirt over my suit.
What?
For the Pistons championship jersey, because I picked the Lakers.
Oh.
And he made me wear the shirt. And he got ripped and all of them to make me wear the shirt. It was embarrassing. Messed up my wardrobe, but it's all right. I deserved it because I picked the Lakers to win that series. Here's the deal. When I think about these Clippers, I picked San Antonio to win the series in 6 because I thought their experience and DeAndre's free throw shooting would cost them. Now I'm thinking about Thiago Splitter, of all people, not being ready to go, really, not much, and Tony Parker. You really think that San Antonio could still take a game over these next 2, even with those 2 out?
That the Clippers can?
No, that San Antonio could win even one of these games, games 3 or 4,
I do.
with both of them out, if both of them end up being out.
I do, and this is why, because of their depth, man. I mean, at some point, Chris, Blake, DeAndre, they got to come out of the game. They've got to come out of the game, and for those 7, 8, 9 minutes, I mean, they can be dominated, especially on the road at San Antonio. I mean, you got Patty Mills and Boris Diaw, who hadn't made very many shots, he can make shots. Danny Green, these guys are going to make shots. Kawhi Leonard, they don't have an answer for Kawhi. You know, it's just a matter of time before he explodes and has a huge game. So I think we're in for a very long series. I do.
Stephen A., what do you think?
I got to know that Tony Parker and Thiago Splitter can go. I think if they can go, and they can play, they can give you 25 to 30 minutes. I think San Antonio could still win this series in 6. If either one of them are not good for you, Clippers win in 6 games. That's how I view this series right now.
So you got a lot of variables there.
Well,
what's your gut feeling on Monday? What do you think?
My gut feeling is that it's 2-2 on Monday. My gut feeling is that it's 2-2 on Monday, but I'm wondering how many bodies San Antonio is going to have available to them for Tuesday in L.A. Because the Clippers are not losing Tuesday in L.A. I don't believe that.
I'll also go 2-2, but I got different takes on it. I think tonight, I'm just guessing on this, I think Tony Parker might not play a minute tonight. I think Pop might just say, let's ice that Achilles. He's got a severe Achilles tendonitis. If you've been through, you had the torn Achilles, obviously. Did it ever plague you before it tore?
No, it didn't.
Okay, it just went.
Yeah.
Okay. So Tony is a shell of himself. He's got no lift on his jump shot, can't get to the rim the way he used to. So the little engine that drove this offense is probably, it's very possible he won't be available at all, and that he'll try to keep him on ice for Sunday afternoon with the quick turnaround. Tim Duncan played 44 minutes the other night. He turns 39 on Saturday. So on the eve of his 39th birthday, I just don't think he's going to play a whole lot of minutes. I just think you can't. Maybe 25 minutes, maybe 28 minutes. Splitter, I think, is easing back in the rotation. I'm going to say it again. Splitter can guard Blake Griffin. When he is right, he can at least hold his own with Blake. Just hold his own. His feet are quicker than you give him credit for. He bothers Blake. Blake's developed a shot that I never thought he would have, that sort of 15-foot, 10-foot shot. And so that's going to be a key to tonight. But now it's just about you're talking about the depth. Well, I just dissipated my depth here. You know, like if Duncan doesn't play a lot, I'm not sure about Splitter's calf, but if he can play more, Tony Parker might not play. Well, all of a sudden it starts to even out on the depth. Now you're going to have to go to your depth a lot quicker. So tonight doesn't feel good to me. It feels like this should be the Clippers game. But do or die on Sunday, as we saw in Game 2 at Staples, the Spurs are hard to beat when it's time to win a basketball game. And I still think this team has that championship grit to it. They know how to win a game when it's time to win a game, and they will win on Sunday. I'm not going to put it past them to win Game 5, but we'll see how that
Spurs?
Yeah.
Like I said, it's all about their health. I don't care who you are. The athletes that the Clippers are and the way they come at you with their starting five, and I know they can't go really any deeper than 6. I mean, the Glenn Big Baby. I personally believe that Glenn Big Baby Davis should be utilized more simply to just lean on somebody. He's so daggone big. Just put him in there just to lean on you for 10 minutes. Just let him wear on you a little bit, because that's a big boy. Got trunks for legs, for crying out loud. Just lean on you. You understand? And then Jamal Crawford, he's going to boogie on you when he comes into the game. They're starting 5. I think they can come at you in droves. That's what I believe they can do. And I think that if you're San Antonio and you're not healthy, you got a problem.
Okay, I got to swing it back to Chauncey. You know this team. You know its psyche. You know its sort of basketball IQ and character. I still can't believe that the Spurs stole that game the other night when Tony Parker just opted out. He just waved out of the game at 5:20, so he wasn't in the game anymore. And then Ginobili takes a stupid 6th foul. He thought he had 4. He took his 6th. He's gone. So for the last 8 minutes and 52 seconds, counting overtime, 2 of the big 3 are not on the floor for the Spurs, and they win. And Blake made a blunder, man, when he had the basketball with, 9 seconds to go. If he just hangs on to the ball and shoots the ball, I think they win. You know? Okay, so what was your take on that?
They stole the game. I mean, but the Clippers handed it to them. I mean, they made some questionable plays down the stretch. Obviously, the couple turnovers that Blake made, I mean, it happens. It happens. I mean, I don't think it was because he was nervous or the moment got too big for him. I don't think that was the case at all. It just happens. It just happens. But you look at the two teams and you look at the experience. Sometimes the experience just shows up. You know, San Antonio is right there, and they're ready to take advantage of any opportune time. And they did that. They did just that. Tim Duncan was great. He was awesome. I don't know that he'll be that great again tonight.
Probably right.
But they're going to need him to be great again, especially with Tony down.
And San Antonio, or rather the Clippers, cannot play 3-on-5 basketball. Blake Griffin, for the mistakes you want to point out, Skip, the brother is averaging 20.
Oh, he's just
12.
unstoppable.
Okay.
And Thiago Splitter cannot guard Blake Griffin.
That's right. And Chris, no, he can't. No. And Chris,
you know what? That is an insult to Thiago. And I hope he watches our show pretty close.
Thiago.
Yes, it
That's
is.
An insult to Blake
listen,
Griffin.
it's an insult to Thiago Splitter and the Spurs organization. Trust me, the coaching staff, if they're watching right now, they're thinking Chauncey doesn't get it.
Can I say something?
No, they're thinking Chauncey's right, and I hope Blake doesn't get it.
Gentlemen, forget Thiago Splitter. It's just a matter of Blake Griffin being away from the basket. Thiago can guard him down low. He can't guard Blake away from the basket. But let's get to this.
He can guard him both places.
Stop it. Chris Paul is averaging 26 and 12, okay? The problem is Matt Barnes right now and J.J. Redick. J.J. Redick shoots 32% from the field. Matt Barnes is averaging 6 points a game. Those are two of your 5 starters. Something's got to give. I'm just saying that one. Whoever Kawhi Leonard is guarding, we understand. Yeah. Whoever Kawhi Leonard is not guarding, you got to get off a little bit more in this series. You have to. You have to.
And in my opinion, if you get J.J. going, you get J.J. Redick going in either one of these games with Chris still shooting almost 60% and playing fantastic in the series, Blake Griffin has been unstoppable, DeAndre's having a great series. If you get one of those guys to show up, now this thing may get out of hand for San Antonio.
By the way, I said CP's averaging 12, but he's averaging 6.5 assists.
Okay. Real quick, we had you on 2 years ago at the finals, and you talked about how the league was viewing Blake as a little soft at that point. What have you seen in his evolution as a player?
He's gotten much better.
Yeah.
He's gotten much better. He's taking the ball to the basket. His jump shot is impeccable right now.
It is.
One thing I know about Blake is he's a tireless worker. He's going to come to work. He's there before everybody. He leaves after everybody. And those habits have transferred over to the court. Now, I mean, he's playing. He's in his prime, and he'll be there for a long time.
All right, so the gentlemen believe on Monday the series will be 2-2. Chauncey, always a pleasure. I love that you give him a hard time.
That's my guy. I'm just happy to see him. I've been here 10 times. I haven't seen him once.
I know.
I got to watch him on TV when I'm even on the show. That's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, every time. Y'all have no idea. You know what? I tell you one thing. Do you know what he calls me?
What does he call you?
Calls me Mush.
Why?
Him and Kobe.
Mush?
From the Bronx Tale.
Oh.
I was bad luck. You know, if I picked you, it's bad luck.
Staying with playoffs, Derrick Rose scored 34 points with 8 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals in the Bulls' double overtime win over the Bucks to take a commanding 3-0 series lead. The 34 points are the most he's scored in any game since March 2012, and his 48 minutes are the most he's played in any game since his 2010-2011 MVP season.
Trying to catch a rhythm. This is my 6-7 game back since I came back, since I set out the last game of the regular season, and I'm just trying to push myself. Sometimes I get winded until I catch my other second win. I'm back good, but I can't think about that. I'm just playing, and like I said, there's no expectations. I'm having fun, and I love competing.
No expectations, having fun. He loves to compete. Stephen A., are you buying or do you believe that Derrick Rose is back?
I don't believe that he's back because I have to believe in his health, and I don't believe in that as of yet. But I believe in Derrick Rose. I've always stated the only problem with this kid is his health. This kid is a good person. He's an incredible player. And when he is healthy, he is nothing short of a superstar. It is that simple. He's averaging 24 and 8 in this series on 47% shooting from the field, 45% shooting from three-point range. 2 of the 3 games he really showed up. Didn't score in the first half of game 2. Scored like 12 of his 15 in the third quarter of game 3. The kid looks as if he's getting it going. But this is Derrick Rose and those knees. And at any given moment, something could go wrong. You just find yourself holding your collective breath. When he got fouled hard near the end of the game and got knocked into, not press row, but courtside, and you just holding your collective breath that he'll be able to get up because of the way he came down on the leg first before he fell. And you just found yourself concerned. I'm just hoping and praying that he stays healthy. If Derrick Rose, when I picked the Chicago Bulls to come out of the Eastern Conference in preseason, it was with the assumption that Derrick Rose is healthy. I still, as good as he looks, I still don't see a guy that's healthy. I see a guy that's healthier than he has been. I see a guy that's playing through some little nagging pain, but I don't see an electric Derrick Rose where I'm looking at him and I'm not concerned about his health at all. I don't see that.
Really?
I don't see that level. I see explosiveness, but I'm talking about the explosiveness that I saw prior to the injury. No, I don't see something like that where it occurred with the level of fluidity that makes me comfortable and not even thinking about him getting injured. And maybe it's just me. Maybe now every little thing I see is I find myself concerned. All right, did he fall too hard?
Yeah.
Did he come down wrong? Did he tweak something?
You're not alone, though.
That's how I feel about him. I'm just praying that he stays healthy because if he stay healthy, good Lord of mercy.
You know what he said about taking that hard fall at the end of regulation?
Yep.
He said he stayed down for a while because it was a veteran move and he was actually just resting. He was trying to get his breath. He wanted to just stay down because he knew everybody would be holding their breath while he was trying to get his breath.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm probably overreacting this, but I loved what I saw from Derrick Rose last night. I saw a guy who had 100% confidence in his surgically repaired knees, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him diving after loose balls, falling into the stands, and then I saw him with great courage go to the basket for that last play. And Antetokounmpo hit him hard, the Greek freak, nailed him. Knocked him into.
Say that name again. Say that.
Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo.
Greek freak.
That's the first time I heard it pronounced correctly. Antetokounmpo.
Is it Antetokounmpo?
Yeah.
We've confirmed it.
Good Lord have mercy, because listen, I never knew. I never knew how to pronounce the name. I asked Jason Kidd earlier this year. He didn't know.
He's like, I don't know.
He's the coach. Antetokounmpo.
He likes him when he's on the floor.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Okay.
Can you imagine how they're going to be when Jabari Parker comes back out?
Yeah, they'll be good next year. I agree. So Derrick Rose has the guts to go to the basket, got hard fouled, went to the free throw line, and missed the first one, but he did make the second one to take it to overtime. I did not love the fact that Derrick Rose's Bulls blew a 10-point lead in the last 2:50 of regulation. That was a bad sign.
Yeah.
It took him 2 overtimes to overcome Jason Kidd's team in Milwaukee, and that series is now officially over. So it's going to be a sweep, too, I believe, as will the Cleveland-Boston series.
Oh, you know what? Even though Milwaukee has a better chance of extending it one more game than Boston does.
Probably. I'll give you that. But I still think
Chicago needs to close it out.
They do,
Cleveland
to stay on rhythm.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree with you. You know what else I love from Derrick Rose last night?
What?
For the first time in a long time, I saw him showing rare emotion. He showed anger. He showed joy. He showed a lot of facial expression that I don't. Usually he's stoic about a lot of things. And I have a lot of friends in Chicago because I work there, and they have questioned whether he really wants to play basketball anymore, because obviously he was gone for a long, long time and collected a whole lot of checks during that time. Last night, he looked engaged. He looked like he really, really cared about winning basketball games for the Chicago Bulls. That will resonate in Chicago.
He does, and when healthy, he is
obviously,
a superstar.
Obviously.
This dude is a difference maker.
Well, Cleveland, he's coming.
You can't wait for that.
This is going to be good.
You're excited.
It's going to be physical.
For that series.
I'm going to have to show up to that series.
All 7 games? If it goes 7?
I wouldn't say all 7 games. They always tease me. I do have an aversion to being in Cleveland too much. Chicago, I don't mind.
Okay, so you'll be at the
Cleveland.
Chicago.
Listen. I have no problem being in Bristol. Bristol, Cleveland, ain't that much of a difference. Ain't that much of a difference.
Back to Ventura. He says something to Eaton before throwing over to first.
He caught the ball and looked at Eaton, and Eaton was screaming at him. I don't know if Eaton was screaming at him or not. And, they just got to staring at each other. And then when Eaton came back, that's when it all started.
I think we're letting emotions get the best of us right now. We just need to figure it out and just get back to playing baseball.
I found myself in the bottom of one of those piles, and, it's not fun being down there. But, hopefully it's all behind us and we can just move forward.
Bad boys of baseball. Another Royals game, another Royals win, and another benches clearing brawl. 5 players ejected, 2 White Sox players and 3 Royals players, including their pitcher you saw there, Yordano Ventura. Ventura has a 3-start streak in which he has directly caused benches to empty. He said he's 23 and he lets emotions get the best of him. Your reaction to the brawl, Bayless?
My first reaction, Stephen A., was these guys are lucky that David Stern isn't commissioner of this sport right now, because some guys would be paying a heavy price for this. Edinson Volquez is throwing haymakers. Fortunately, none connected, but maybe I would like to see Volquez and Samardzija in Vegas fighting. We'd be there for that.
It's like football.
Yeah. And my second thought was, as much as I love young Ventura, love his arm, love his spunk, love the fight in him, he's going to have to grow up and learn to rechannel his emotion into throwing strikes instead of throwing beanballs at people and retaliating against people. He's got so much talent. I love the fight in this baseball team. I love it that you're calling the bad boys of baseball. They have a 12-4 record. It's the best in the American League right now. Second best in baseball to the Mets at 13-3.
11 straight wins by the Mets.
Wow.
What the hell's going on?
I don't know. So your reaction to this?
Well, first of all, Edinson Volquez, he's got a 1.99 ERA. What the hell are you doing throwing haymakers? I don't want anything happening to that arm, that hand, whatever. What are you thinking? Stupid. Very stupid thing to do. And this kid, Ventura, get your emotions in check. all right? But I'm also going to sit there and say this, even though I like the bad boys, I like feistiness, I like the fact that they give you the attitude that they're just going to come at you. It's just the sport of baseball. We're not talking about you as boxers, as fighters. We're talking about you as baseball players. And even though I'm one that thinks that baseball is a bit overblown in terms of when they talk about getting into a fight, I think it's just punkish because they know about 20 different people going to come to stop the fight. It ain't like you trying to meet outside and handle your business the way you're really supposed to. So stop acting like you're really engaging in a fight. Who I'm really going to hold accountable for this is the manager, Ned Yost. I'm not impressed with his leadership. I'm not impressed with the fact that he doesn't seem to have his team under control. I understand they've been hit more than anybody else in baseball with the exception of one team. They're the second most hit team in baseball. They've been hit by 16 pitchers this year. I understand that you don't sit back and take all of that. I get that. But this team, in terms of their bad boy mystique, you're inviting teams to come after you because you're veering away from baseball etiquette per se. And I think the manager has something to do with that. Now, you don't have to toe the traditional line and do everything the way everything usually is done. But at the same time, while you're veering away from it a little bit, there is some exercise of control or some control that needs to be exercised. And if you can't do that, why the hell are you a manager? What purpose do you serve if you can't sit there and keep your troops in check?
Okay, but I'm sure a part of the manager loves this because they're starting to develop a mystique.
That's why I'm pointing the finger at him because you have to figure out a way to gauge that without veering too far left and getting all belligerent. That's not what baseball is supposed to be about. And Ned Yost has a responsibility to make sure he reels them in somewhat. Somewhat. I'm not saying they're totally wrong here because they're not.
All I know is we are talking about the Kansas City Royals.
So something's going on.
A great team, great young team. Got 5 guys batting over 300, a 6 batting 295. But you ain't the World Series champions. That would happen to be the San Francisco 49ers. They ain't acting like that.
Maybe the Giants.
Not the 49ers.
San Francisco Giants.
That's okay. The 49ers
Everybody know what I mean.
They wish they had won the World Series, but they did.
San Francisco Giants.
Got it.
You got it.
Bumgarner.
We got it.
Yes. Winners. Kansas City's the runner-up.
Monday we'll discuss it, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Don't forget, catch us on the road for Fight Week in Vegas, April 29th through May 1st. We're live with special guests at the MGM Grand Pool Complex. Doors open 5:30 a.m. local time. We'll see you there.